Where are you most content with your production on this EP?
I recorded it all at home during lockdown. Um, yeah, when I record my own music, I recorded it all myself. Like have the band, Tim and Gregor, for live stuff, but I did it all myself during the whole lockdown thing. Just in my house, it felt really comfortable doing that because I was just surrounded by home comfort. So it was very nice to, I don't know, just do it in my own time whenever I could, or whenever I wanted to, because I literally had all the time in the world to do it, and lockdown was kind of nice in that way for that. So it was nice to just kind of be able to really just focus on doing, because I only had like 2 inputs like for recording the whole thing. So just sat and like would record the kick drum individually for a song, and then the snare for a song, and then add up the cymbals, and like it was all recorded like completely individually.
How many takes do you get? How many takes does it take to get the right sound?
I don't know, it depends. Like, I think that's something that kind of came through in the recordings of that EP. It's like, it's very, I don't know, it sounds almost, because when I play drums with a full kit, it's a lot more intricate and stuff, but because I was just doing one by one, it's like, I couldn't really think of like where the ghost notes were and stuff, so it sounds like there's something about it that's almost quite childish, kind of White Stripesy or something, like with the drums where it's just, so I don't know, I tried to keep it as simple as I could, so I could, so I don't know, it didn't take that long, but yeah, like I said, it was nice to be able to have that comfort to just kind of take my time on it and just really focus on the sound, which was good.
Is it easier or harder to express yourself in a simple way like that?
A bit of both, because I think when you're I don't know, with these set of songs, because I was doing it on my own, a bit easier because I could kind of focus on channeling that sound, channeling what I wanted, what kind of emotion I wanted to come through from the songs, and like I don't know, really refine that, but it's harder to get that. It's definitely harder to get that live feeling of playing in a band together, and especially as it's kind of like, you know, like alt rocky music where, I don't know, you want it kind of just really, I don't know, when you play in a band and play in a room just like everyone's just thrashing about, it's easier in that way when you're with other people, but on your own it's harder to do that kind of thing, which is what I tried to do with the last song, Better Life. For that song, I just did the first takes of every single one and just played whatever I felt like at the time, because that kind of emotion came through a lot more, so I think that track became a lot more lively compared to the other ones, but then the other ones are a bit more focused to the, I don't know, channeling the exact emotion, I guess.
Do you ask yourself different questions as a songwriter as opposed to a producer? Or do you kind of compartmentalize it, or are you very much in the same space all the time as a creative?
It's a funny one actually, because it's hard to switch off from doing the producing side of it when you're writing, because I wrote those songs. Football was written ages ago, with a band, and that was just when I was starting to get into production. So that was really, I don't know, the process was very lively from that point of view. But then when I was recording it during the summer, it became a bit more, I don't know, sterile. I don't necessarily think in a bad way, but definitely a lot more like, okay, snare kind of thing, like a lot more, I don't know, to the clock or something.
Did your perspective on this song change then? Is that what kind of caused that? Or
I think so, yeah. definitely. It was quite nice. It was quite nice going back to the kind of having a lot more time and like home space to write and record in. Gives you a bit more space to, I don't know, yeah, like just change your perspective and like work out what I was feeling about the song at that point and putting that into it. So I think it's important to do that rather than trying to channel an emotion that you felt like 2 years ago when you wrote the song. Yeah.
When you really nail the production on a song as well, does that change the way that you feel about it from when you initially first wrote it? Does that feeling develop in any way as a result of that?
I don't know. With this kind of music, maybe not quite so much, because I try to keep it quite raw sounding. Yeah, with this EP especially, actually, I wanted to just kind of keep it, you know, kind of that 2000s kind of sound, like cribsy, kind of super dry, yeah, raw, I guess. So try to keep it lively in that way.
How do you make something raw but still sonically pleasing? Like, how do you kind of balance that out?
I think by just trying to make it sound like it's a band in a room. Try and not, like, I don't know, like you kind of like add like saturation and distortion to like the snare drum and stuff, which sounds like a very unnatural thing to do, but when you're listening, or it sounds like it should be a very unnatural sound to the ear, but because like listening to a band live, like hitting a snare drum in a room, your ears are just going to be like, oh, that was a lot. So you kind of want to emulate that excitement. So by adding like a lot of like, I don't know, like really saturated tones, especially like on the vocals, especially and stuff, like it just, yeah, it kind of brings that feeling out.
Yeah. Did you notice anything different about the 3 tracks as well when you laid them alongside each other and put them one next to each other, like as opposed to when you first wrote them as individual pieces?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny actually because I've not listened to like the set of songs in a wee while, and I listened to them this morning, and it kind of made me realize how similar they were, because I remember deciding to put those 3 songs together after I recorded them and being like, okay, this will do. I just need to, because I faffed about with them for a while. I was like, okay, these are the songs that I'll put on, and I'll go with it. But I listened to it a few times at that time and kind of listened to them as a set and just went, maybe they don't really suit. So I purposely just haven't listened to it in a while. Listened to it this morning before coming here and kind of realized like, well, I recorded all of them in the same space of time, and the emotion that I put into all of those songs, there's a common ground between all of them, and I think that's the thing that makes a set of recorded songs sound coherent, in my opinion. If I put, because I've done quite a few as a dog, if I put recordings, because I've recorded football like a bunch of times. Hello. So yeah, I've recorded football like I think like 5 times now. But if I put the first recording of that song in with the mix of Mom and Beta Life, they would be, it just wouldn't fit, because it's a completely different emotion that I was channeling into that recording, into my playing at that point. But because they're all together, because they were all recorded in the same kind of space of time, same mindset, they all just make sense. And I think you can put any style together as long as you can mix and match styles, as long as you're recording in the same emotional mind state.
Do you think the EP would have felt quite different then had you done it over a longer period of time? Was it important that you did it in that kind of concise period?
I think so. I think it made a lot of sense too, because I kind of wrote those songs over quite a long period of time. Like I say, like football took a really long time to mature, and because I've written that with a few different people, but then in the finished result, I decided on the final parts, and same with Mum, and then the last one, Better Life, is like I just did that all myself during lockdown. That was written just this year, so yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
There's a lyric I picked up on one of the tracks as well. I'm not feeling romantic tonight, I'm feeling lost inside. Is that the reality of being an artist? Is it we think about it, this kind of creative excitement and this buzz and this romanticism around it, but then actually it's just quite a painful process sometimes?
Yeah, I think so. That's sort of what the whole EP's sort of getting at, and I think the kind of viewpoint I had when deciding on the final parts and the final lyrics, especially for the EP, it's just about, like, I don't know, I think romanticize all the things that you can get overexcited by, things that are going to happen, these kind of big milestones, and then they happen and you're like, so what, kind of thing. But then, I don't know, I think you should get excited about the mundane, and I think I really sort of learned that during writing these songs. And like the lyrics that I was writing, I kind of realized it was like, oh, this is just all about just, I don't know, being excited about just, I don't know, being alive and like in the present. So I think that's a really important thing.
How does that impact your daily life if you're kind of going around with that mindset and you're able to get excited from just everyday things?
Well, I'd say I didn't used to, and I think, yeah, writing these songs has actually really helped me realize that, and especially over lockdown, I kind of realized that it's important to give yourself time to come away from it, I don't know, like as being a creative, you really want to just constantly be doing it and constantly be creating to the best of your ability. But I think by doing that it can be damaging if you're constantly at it, not stopping. So you need to be able to have a chance to come away and, like I say, enjoy the mundane parts of life. I think that's really important.
Do you think you're happier now as a result of being able to do that, just as a person?
Oofed. I think I'm happier when I'm able to do that, but I think it's a hard thing. I think it's a hard thing to accept because like I say, there's that battle of kind of sitting back and just, like, I don't know, reading a book, scrolling through your Facebook, whatever, just doing the boring shit. That you just have this thing in the back of your mind, like, no, I need to be creating, need to be doing something. But if you're able to switch that off and then come back to being creative, I think those two go hand in hand and create a really special thing. And yeah, people are happier when they get that balance, I think.
And that's a positive note to wrap up on.
Yes.
Thank you very much, man.
No bother.